Hi everybody, I'm Jamin and I am building a game. Now I've been in the software industry for almost 20 years. I've been coding since I was 12, 30 years ago. I started by making little games in QBasic and I've been making games most of my life, but I've never really finished one from start to finish and I've certainly never sold one like on Steam or something like that. And recently I got into, well, my brother Denton, who you can find online. He streams, he's building his own games at Dead Slap. He started using an open source system called Godot. And Godot, I tried it out and I thought it was really fun. I even tried out the 3D side and I thought, you know what, I can do this. This is fun. Now I've done a little bit of Unity as well, which is fun. There were parts of Unity that I just didn't, it was just really awkward. Godot, though, seems to really work the way that I think. The game that I'm making is a helicopter, like a combat helicopter simulator. And I loved playing flight simulator games when I was a kid, especially combat flight simulators. One of my favorite games was Gunship 2000 by Microprose back in the 90s. There's also US Navy fighters and combat flight simulator, Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. I don't know. I could keep going. There were many combat flight simulator games that I played in the 90s, and they kind of went away. Like in the 2000s, you couldn't really find a good helicopter simulator. Most of the ones that were out there were just not that great. I also always wanted a helicopter game where I could play with my brothers and with my son, maybe my daughters if they're interested. So the game that I want to make is a helicopter combat simulator with full co-op multiplayer. It's not going to be like PvP. It'll be more like missions and campaigns and things like that. And I've got a little ways into it. So let's take a look at what I have so far built in Godot, as I said. Currently the name is TBD. I put Aeroblade as the sort of the name, but let's take a look at this and see how far I've gotten so far. So you can see that I am parked here kind of awkwardly on a little bit of a slope. I have, there's this kind of low quality landscape around me. This is just a test area. I've only been working on this for about a week, but the idea behind these devlogs is that maybe by putting out my progress, maybe there will be people who also want to see the same type of game happen, and they'll look at it and they'll say, hey, yeah, this is cool. And they'll encourage me. If that's you, please do put in the comments, please encourage me, click that like button, click subscribe. I appreciate it from everybody who gives me that support. So I'm going to hold down Shift E for a second, and that turns on the aircraft. I'm going to jump into the cockpit. Hear it spooling up. One of the things I've already implemented, other than obviously the rotor spinning and the engine sound, is the ability to look around the cockpit and not just look kind of in a swivel. As you can see, as I turn, like it tries to, like the head movements try to kind of mimic how you would look around a cockpit. Like when I look to the side, you can kind of see to the left here. As I look to the left here and kind of look over the side, I can actually see more of the wing than when I start turning back. It kind of brings me back to the center. Same thing on the other side, which is kind of fun. I might implement a few more of those, but it just feels really good. Now, the controls are going to be relatively simple. I'm aiming for that sweet spot between, DCS, like the really intense helicopter simulators, and then something like Battlefield, where the controls are really simple and whatnot. One of the cool things that's going to be present in this is that we're going to have progression. So you're going to start out as like a warrant officer candidate, and you will have missions and campaigns that you need to go try to achieve. You might get a mission like, hey, go to this location on the map and blow up a tank column, that's headed this direction. You might need to do a rescue mission and escort a Black Hawk, cargo helicopter. Right now I'm in an Apache, as you can see from the external view. This is an AH-64 Apache, which is the main combat attack helicopter of the U.S. Army, and this will probably be what most people will be flying in most of the time. I'm trying to make the controls easy. Helicopters are not easy to fly, so I'm doing some things to make it easier and make it feel more natural. There's some really interesting things that I'm doing with, like how I kind of translate the cyclic movement, which would be the up, down, left, or roll left, roll right, into movement. And then the WASD is the collective and the rudder pedals, which would be the up and down, the power, the pitch of the blades, so to speak, or the rotors. And of course the rudder pedals make you kind of like yaw left and right, like I'm doing right there. If you can use the keyboard itself or the keyboard and mouse, I'll add joystick control as well. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what some of the like flight enthusiasts might think. This is not aiming to be a true flight simulator. It's more of a war game. So I'm trying to straddle that sweet spot between simulator and game. I'm wanting to do fully dynamic campaigns, fully procedurally generated maps if I can do that. I haven't totally decided on that. I think I would prefer procedurally generated maps. I've always preferred that in general, is to just kind of have tons of variety. With that said, I understand that the quality of maps can be so much higher if they're handcrafted. So I'm gonna do my best, and that will be part of the DevLog, is sort of my journey through figuring that out and whether that's like the direction I want to go or not. There will be progression, so you'll be promoted through Warrant Officer Candidate, where you'll be doing just sort of like practice flights. You'll get promoted to Warrant Officer 1. You can be promoted to an officer, second lieutenant, first lieutenant, all the way up to lieutenant colonel. You can have other pilots, whether they're AI pilots or co-op. Co-op's going to be a big part of this game. So I want to be able to play with my friends. I've already built in, and I don't have a good way to show you right now, but I will show you in a future video. You can actually join from another computer already and sit in the front cockpit and aim the gun. And the gun will actually move based on where you're aiming. Because, I don't know if you know this, but in the real Apache helicopter, wherever the pilot or the co-pilot gunner, I'm in the pilot seat in the back here, and the co-pilot gunner is in front of me, wherever they look with their helmet, it actually turns the gun in the direction they're looking. So they can aim the gun just using by turning their head. It's pretty cool. So I've already built that into the game. I don't have any way to actually fire the cannon yet. That will be something I'll do in the future. There's a lot of work to be done. But it's going to be fun. Every piece of this, every little bit of this kind of just adds on each other, and I'll add more devlogs as I go. So if you have ideas on what you'd like to see in a helicopter simulator, please do let me know. I would love to hear from you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I guess that's all I have for today. I'm going to be working on it later tonight, and I'll have maybe another update for you in a day or two. Please let me know in the comments if you think this is a cool idea. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you all next time.